All right, I wanted to give a update on what I'm doing with my modern terrain for my battlefield and some of the stuff I'm actually trying to make. So this first thing you're seeing here is part of the 4x6 area. And I've put, and I'm gonna go a little closer now. So let me bring the camera in here. And what I've drawn with a pencil and a straight edge are squares. And there are these squares, they're about a half inch each. This is supposed to represent the sidewalks that the models would walk down. So let me get a couple of, I should have got these ahead of time. Alright, so these are the models that would go down. So you kind of get an idea of the size or scale that the sidewalks are. So they're supposed to represent about 3 feet, and I kind of, instead of 15 millimeter, I went 1/78 scale with HO scale. So each inch would represent 6 feet. So sidewalks about 3 by 3, 3 feet by 3 feet. So half inch, it's going to be a lot easier for me to measure this half inch than probably what 15 millimeter would put it at. So I did that in pencil, and then I'm going to coat it with a matte coating so that the pencil marks won't rub off. But then you got a problem that everything is a sidewalk. So how do you solve this problem that you don't want everything to be a sidewalk? So what I did was I went down to our hobby town, and at the hobby town I found a mat that was, it's got green grass on it. Here's the plastic that was on it. This one was like 4 by, well, a little bigger than 4. It's 50 inches by 100 inches. So I actually had to cut it down. And it's vinyl. I could have gone with paper or vinyl. I decided with vinyl because it'll last longer. Paper could rip. And so I want to bring this out here. So here's that, and I actually cut them into several pieces because I didn't want a whole green mat taking up the 4x6 board, because if I did that, I might as well just use the mat I've got, which is 4x6. And so you can see it kind of ends here, and if I needed to, I can go some much shorter ones. So I got one, that one was 3 feet long. This one I think is like 2 feet, one's 18 inches, something like that. And then I have this last piece here, and this is what I'm going to make my heels out of. Because there's a way you can put stuff underneath it and then use a heat gun that blows hot air on it, and it'll kind of mold to it being that vinyl, which I don't think I could do with the paper. I'm not sure, but that's that. So kind of what I'm looking at is, move this out of the way. There we go. All right, so let me get this out of the way. And it comes already with all this green on it. So let me scoot that over there, set it up kind of like that. And so I'm going to scoot this back. And so what you get is half the field's green, half of it is this sidewalk area. Or I can go less green, because I do have some smaller pieces that go like here and here, so I can have more concrete if I wanted to. Or I can go with the more green, and if I want to go whole green, I'll just bring my regular mat out. Well, then you run into, wow, we still got a lot of sidewalks still over here, so what do? You don't want that unless that's what you're looking for. So I'm going to bring the camera over here again for this next part and go down here. And so what I did was I went to the hardware store. And I looked and looked through the hardware store. Oh, and that's where I got this. I guess I should say what this is. This is, I believe this is like wall paneling. And it comes in about a 4x8 foot section. So I actually have another section here about 2 feet long. And I'm in the process of putting in the sidewalk on it. If it will focus in on it. I'll get my hand here, maybe it'll focus in on my hand. And so right now I just have one set of lines. I'm ready to do the second set. This is in case, you know what, I don't want that whole board. I just want a smaller area like this, and I could just throw that down and then throw the grass next to it. Or I can have that grass, but then I can cover it up with this piece. So let me get this kind of set up the way it would be, so I can do something like that. So then only have grass up in that area. So that's my thinking behind that extra piece. Not quite done putting the pencil marks on that one. Let me get this out of the way. Oh, so it's just this, here's the back of it. Let's see if it's gonna focus in. So that's just the back of it. I use an X-Acto blade to cut it. Probably not the best thing, but I don't have all the fancy tools to create everything. All right, so we got this mat here. Got the sidewalk, but we have a lot of sidewalk. So the hardware store and the dollar store are great places to get ideas. And the next idea I had was, I was looking at vinyl tile because it's thin, easy to cut. You know, I was looking at patterns, and I found this vinyl tile. So, make sure it gets in focus here. So when I looked at it, I said, wow, that does look pretty close to what a parking lot would. You got stains and stuff like that. And so this would be like a parking lot. So I can kind of line that up, and the sidewalk's going to go around it. I am going to be in the process of painting lines on this. And then you can put such things as the factory there. So there's the factory. Here's this. It's going to have parking spaces in it. And I also have different sizes. So I have some that are like a foot by a foot. So that can go like right there. I have some that are a little bit skinnier, a bit longer. You know, so you kind of can jigsaw it, put the sidewalk in between. Kind of like that. And I took the the paper off because it does stick, and I put matte coating on it, and that took the stickiness out of it. And so I have some smaller ones that are 6x6. Also, what I'm going to do with these, one of these is cut driveways. So it's going to kind of come in just like you would drive off the street into a driveway area up into, and it's going to cut across the sidewalk. So that's going to be my parking lot. So I could also have the sidewalk in between the roads. So I can have one set of sidewalk, or I can double width the sidewalk, you know, whatever I feel like doing. Because then I can just put the roads down. So something like that. And that's why I went with the sidewalk as the base, because it's much easier to put these big pieces onto making a sidewalk than try to get these little sidewalks inside. Oh, here's where I'm gonna have a sidewalk and have like this be the base. And so that's showing the roads there. The last thing I'm gonna work on is I took toothpicks and cut them down to this size, and I just have a whole bunch of toothpicks I cut, and let me get them in. Okay, so here's kind of the height of the men, and that would be basically the height of the fence. So it's a very maybe like 10-foot tall security fence, something like that, which is what I was looking for. And I ordered, and this said an HO scale chain link fence, and I was not happy with it. The holes are really skinny. I'm just afraid it's going to break. Now, if you're doing HO and you don't mess with your train layout, it's fine. But for me, I'm going to be putting it in, taking it out, maybe transporting it, so it's just going to break. So that's why I went with toothpicks. I'm going to color these silver, and then they're going to be the proper span. I haven't figured that out yet. I'm going to do a little research. You know, if it's 10 feet, that's going to be about 1.5 inches apart on those. And the plan for the chain link part was, I found this aluminum screen really cheap, 36 inches by 84, plenty. And so you kind of can see that's going to be my chain link that I'm going to, and I don't have to paint this. That's nice because it's already got the silver, because it's aluminum. So it's already got the metal look to it. Of course it is metal, but it's not like black or anything. So I don't have to paint this. I just have to paint these silver, cut it to the right width, and then glue it down onto those. And then I can make one that's going to fit around this, or I can make one that fits around that smaller one, or whatever, you know, whatever size I want. I was thinking about making them permanently attached, but I mean, it's drilling in here, and then what if I decide, you know, I don't want a fence around this? Well, then I'm stuck with the fence around it. This way I can put the fence on if I need to, or I can take it off. So that's the chain link fence I'm going to work on. There was one last thing, I forgot, there was one last thing I'm working on. And that is this building, which I am not happy with the color. Just, wow, that's just gray. So I went and got my painter's tape. And if you go onto the Team Yankee website, actually I should just go back to where you can see, down towards the bottom where the station's at, they have this about pimping it. And if you go there, you can see some actual service stations. Now, colorful they are. So they've provided these decals that you can put on the windows. You can also put on the outside, like this Coca-Cola one. And this is where somebody did with the paint, well, they did it with masking tape. But the painter tape, I think, is going to be better because it's made to prevent the paint from sliding underneath the tape compared to masking tape. But they did stripes on theirs, kind of like this. They kept all the gray, put the Coca-Cola. It would have been nice to put the window ones on there. And they showed how they did the striping. So that's what I'm looking for, to add the extra color, because I think that's going to be much better than just that gray. So these are my projects I'm working on. Just kind of giving an update because it is taking me a while to work. I work full time and then I work on this stuff in the evening. So it is taking me some time to try to figure this out. And I went to the hardware store, and you want to talk about walking around each aisle for hours. And I'm not joking. For hours just looking at stuff going, can I use this? And so just take a trip sometime to the hardware store and maybe you'll get some ideas. But you can maybe use some cheaper material. But these tiles, these vinyl tiles, I can't remember, these were like, for this 18 inch by 18 inch, I think it was like $2. And only bought maybe like 5 of them and cut them into these different sizes. The screen, I think, was like $6. The toothpicks were at a dollar store. So I got more than enough toothpicks for $1. Painter's tape you can get at dollar store or at the hardware store. And and this was at the hardware store, and I think this thing was only like $10. And you get a 4x8, so I actually have some extra. This was a little bit more expensive. I think this was like $35 or something like that. The paper one was a lot cheaper, but paper's just gonna fall apart compared to what I'm doing. So that's what I've been up to, and I just thought to keep you up to date, and hopefully I get some of the stuff done by Friday, so I can put a video up about it. To do the striping on the parking lot, they're gonna be white striping, maybe some yellow striping. I'm going to do a little research. But that's where the painter's tape also comes in. you outline with the painter's tape what you want, and you just go in there and just brush in the white or the yellow. And when it's dry, take it out. So that's it. I'm talked on enough about this. You can see what projects I'm doing. Hopefully Friday I can have some of them done. So if you like this or other videos I've done, go ahead and subscribe and tell other people about it. And until next time, have a good game.